The National Basic Education Department says it will terminate the KwaZulu-Natal school nutrition program tender should any irregularity be established in the awarding of this contract. Recently, the department appointed a single service provider to handle the over 2 billion rand school nutrition program. Learners in over 5,000 schools in the province were affected after food was not delivered to schools. The National Department has launched its own investigation into the program in KwaZulu-Natal following reports that feeding in some schools was not taking place and in some inadequate food was supplied. Let's now speak to National Teachers Union General Secretary Dr. Ngema. Thank you so much, Mr. Ngema, for your time. Very briefly, how bad is the situation on the ground, given the fact that some of these learners, may have this meal as the only meal that they will have per day?
Well, good evening to you and good evening to your viewers at home. Indeed, the situation on the ground is very dire, it's very bad. Looking indeed at the fact that this food assists learners from poor backgrounds, learners who are coming from poor communities such as rural households as well as townships situations. So at this point in time, we've seen right from the beginning of this term where schools were without food. Indeed, there's been a gradual improvement since last week. We've seen food being delivered. But what is worrying about the issue regarding the nutrition in schools in this province is the fact that there is poor quality of food that is being delivered. We have seen that some of this food, in particular vegetables, is expired or rotten. And also the issue of quantity. You'll find that in a big schools that are enrolling as many as 600 learners, you'll find that they only deliver few quantities like 10 kg of rice, and they also do not deliver the cooking gas just to prepare the food. So it's very much worrying. However, we brought this matter to the attention of the MEC in this province, and even now, I've just logged out of another meeting where we were engaging with the Minister of Basic Education, Minister Motshekga, where we wanted to get answers in terms of when and how are they dealing with this issue. But indeed, they reported that there's been some kind of progress. We are also made aware of the fact that there is investigation that is taking place. We are aware that the Minister of Basic Education is engaging with the in this province just to find the answers in terms of how was the tender, awarded to this main supplier.
But Ngema, before you go into the investigations, are you getting the answers? Because you're saying that you've just come out of a meeting with the minister. Yes. Are you getting the answers you're looking for?
Unfortunately, at this point in time, they are not giving us any, proper feedback. However, there is some kind of preliminary report with regards to their observations. Because the team of the Department of Basic Education was in this province last week just to find out what is the cause of these glitches that were reported by the MEC, and they indeed find that the issue was about the termination of the suppliers that was replaced by the main supplier, and that caused a lot of problems because now the new suppliers that are being appointed, they only operate and their scope is only limited to only deliveries from the nodal points there where the main supplier is delivering food, from there going to schools. And unfortunately, they cannot even account to principals of schools about the quantity as well as the quality of this food because they are not empowered to purchase this food for the school. So at this point in time, they are only telling us about the investigation to say that they noted that there is shortage of supply, there is inadequate deliveries that is taking place, there is poor quality, there is also incapacity with regards to the main supplier. You recall that this main supplier was only appointed on the eve of the school reopening, and as such, with the company only having been registered, some 2 years ago, and has no capacity to do the business of this magnitude, and therefore we are seeing incompetency in with regard to the supply of food.
So, Ngema, given what has transpired then, where do you lay the blame? Do you lay it with the department or the company that got the contract?
Look, the supplier is just appointed, and unfortunately that person was only appointed on the eve of the school reopening. However, the blame here, we attribute all this to the Department of Education in the province. They should have prepared for this to say they knew about the fact that they were going to discontinue the contracts of the suppliers by the end of March. And they should have prepared that, and they should have, tried to put the all the things in place to ensure that the appointment of the new supplier or the main supplier is made on time. You can't do this thing overnight. And at the end of the day, we see this Pasina retail company is owned by a person in Johannesburg, and that is worrisome. But we are also aware that when you look into this system of centralization of the delivery of food, it does not assist us, because now, even the suppliers that were appointed now, they are only doing the deliveries. And at the end of the day, they cannot account or tell school principals in terms of what happens to the amount or the quantity of food as well as the quality.
Yeah.
So we are blaming the Department of Education in this province, because we are asking a question to say, why did they change the system that was operational, that was functional? Because at the end of the day, when you look into the contracts of those suppliers that were terminated, they had a provision of a 2-year extension. If indeed they were not ready in terms of the appointment of the new supplier. But second to that, they would even also have gone through an option of saying, let us allow schools to deal with the issue of supply of food or purchase of food, because that is also happening in other provinces where the department simply inject or deposit the money to the school so that the school can run nutrition on its own.
Yeah.
And the school principals are better positioned. They know the needs of these learners. And unfortunately, this tailoring system, being influenced by issues of corruption, it went wrong. And unfortunately, it ended up with our learners, who are learners, not being, fed.
So you are alleging...
Very much heartless, of the department.
Ngema, if you can allow me just to come in there, please. You are alleging the issue, you're saying the issue of corruption at play here. Tell us more about that.
We had no other thoughts or option to think about, because this department in this province, in particular when it comes to the awarding of tenders, we have seen it in the past, and we want to make mention of what happened in 2015 in terms of the supply of sanitary towels, the issue of the supply of COVID-19 PPEs in 2020. And now, if you look into the change of the procurement system, to say that why do you have the system that was operational and working such that the suppliers were given mandate and authority to go there and purchase food for the school and supply to schools and then make claims at the end? But then you come all the way without that system, causing any problem, but you come out and change it.
Yeah.
And now you appoint the main supplier, and you know that this company has not done any business anything close to 1 million, but you award it a 2 billion rand tender to build schools that are more than 5,000 and more than 2 million learners in the province. So we cannot blame anyone but the department, and we must say that indeed we want consequence management to take place here, and the Department of Basic Education must indeed probe and investigate this matter deeply, and indeed, if it calls that a heads roll, they must roll.
Ngema, very briefly as a final question, it's very difficult for a teacher to have a child who's hungry in class. How are they navigating through these ones as the schools? Are they finding themselves having to either close early, or how are schools, how are your members navigating through this issue?
I must say it's very difficult. Our members have reported that they are finding it very difficult because, as you say, these learners, they rely, on this food. So now, if you have to sit with a learner from around 8 o'clock up until 2 o'clock, 3 o'clock in the afternoon without any plate of food, it's very much difficult. And therefore, many schools have resorted into saying, let us terminate teaching and learning during the day, say around 11, 12. And unfortunately, that is bad for our learners, because they are losing out in terms of curriculum coverage. It's also bad for our teachers because it says to them, in the near future, they will have to catch up and ensure that they teach extra time during holidays, during weekends and so on, just to catch up with the curriculum. So the situation is bad on the ground, and we must say that really the Department of